Greetings, Dapplings, and welcome to Against the Storm, a new first taste for the channel. Against the Storm is a beautiful roguelite city builder by Eremite Games, in which we play as a Viceroy of the Scorched Queen, ruler of the Smouldering City. It is our job to head out into the wastes beyond the Smouldering City and establish new settlements and towns which will be inhabited by humans and beavers and lizard people. Absolutely fantastic cast of characters, though I must say I'm seeing a lot of anthropomorphic beavers popping up of late. Is there something that I should be aware of? Is the world about to flood? Actually, that might be a little bit too on the nose. Maybe it is time for us to start teaching beavers all that humanity knows that our legacy might carry on in some fashion or another. Nevertheless, leaving all of that aside, Against the Storm is an absolutely gorgeous experience, both visually and in terms of its mechanics. As I mentioned, it's a roguelite city builder, which is a bit of an interesting mash of genres. But before we get down to business, I will take a moment just to cover that, well, it's one of these things. What is a roguelite versus a roguelike? You ask 20 different people and you'll probably get 20 different answers. If you're lucky, you might actually get 50 different answers because it's just the way it is. But for my personal take, a roguelike is a game where the core game loop is kind of encapsulated at the end of a run, whether it's a short kind of run, like maybe a 5-minute tea break roguelike, or something a little bit more substantial that might take you several days to get through an entire run. Quite often, you'll end the run by failing, because that's what roguelikes are, and you'll go back to the beginning and start fresh. Maybe the world will be a little bit different. Procedural generation is quite common in roguelikes, but you will start from the beginning, fresh slate. Whereas a roguelite quite often has some element of meta progression. Perhaps through the run you accumulate some sort of rare currency that at the end of the run you can spend on permanent upgrades, which will then appear in future runs, either right from the onset. Maybe you start with better gear, or you unlock different abilities, or perhaps adds some new elements into the game moving forward. For example, if it were a deck builder, you might have new cards that you might find in the game as you proceed. One of the things that I love about Against the Storm, and something I think sets it apart, is that kind of happens twice. There's a cycle within a cycle in this game, and I think it adds so much to the experience, and I'm really, really excited to showcase this here on the channel. Now, that being said, I do want to give a big thank you to Eremite Games for making it possible for me to cover this. It is available currently on Early Access over on Epic Games, and will be coming to Steam sometime in 2022. But with that said, let's go ahead and just jump in. It is always easier to show than to describe, and there is an awful lot to show, and all of it is beautiful. So I really, really hope you're going to enjoy this experience. As ever, do remember, if by the end of the video you enjoyed what you saw and you want to see more, do consider leaving a like or a comment down below to let me know. We may see a little bit more of this than just one first taste. But with that, let's get things going.
The world is plagued by the Blight Storm, a vile cycle of destruction ravaging everything in its path. The only safe haven is the Smoldering City, where the mysterious Scorched Queen reigns.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate these awesome names?
Viceroys, a pioneer sent into the wilds, tasked with establishing new settlements and acquiring valuable resources for the crown. Your goal is to help rebuild the Smoldering City and secure the future of the Queen's subjects.
A goal that we will take very seriously, I assure you. Alright then. Neglecting your village will increase the Queen's impatience and bring her wrath upon you. Fulfilling your duties will increase the town's reputation and unlock the new buildings. Consider this your lose condition and this your win condition. Now, we've started the game with a building that we can pick, so let's go ahead and do that. The Queen's Envoy. Your renown grows. You can now pick one of the available blueprints that the Queen offers you. Now, in a normal game outside of the tutorial, you'll have a couple of different options here, maybe 3, maybe 2, and you'll get to pick one of them. And therein is, this is a lovely game. The whole roguelite thing and having meta progression is nothing new, but I love the way that this game has cycles within cycles. And even the establishing of a city, which you're going to do a lot. You'll establish many towns, and then the Blightstorm will come along, and a whole new cycle will happen. So the first cycle is establishing a town, completing it, going and establishing another, completing it, and so on and so forth. And then the Blightstorm happens, and you start the process again. But even within the smallest cyclic element, you have a degree of randomness, and I really, really dig that. Obviously, in the tutorial, that isn't really expressed, but I did want to give a nod to the developers on that one, because that is such a cool feature. I really love it. Build a woodcutter's camp and explore the forest. You have to keep the fires going at all times. On the topic of fire, this is our hearth right here, and it is attended by one of our lizard brethren. The lizards firekeepers are very adept at ancient rites, so having a lizard working in this job is particularly good. We've got lizards, we've got beavers, and we've got humans. What is it about beavers lately? There's lots of games about beavers. It's something happening I'm just not aware of. Nevertheless, we started with a couple of bits of resources. We've got 10 wood, 19 coal, some simple tools. We've got some parts, extremely rare. We would only be able to trade for those or find them. And additionally, we've got some food to start things off. But let's go ahead and place down our first woodcutter's camp. Now, where do we want to put it? Let's pop it over here, right up at the back there, because from here we should be able to dig our way into all of these glades. Something which I really, really love about this is the idea that the game world is basically this little island. It's a massive forest, and it's dotted by glades, and we don't know what's in the glade until we break through the walls of the forest, and then we discover whether there is good or ill lying on the other side. Something I am particularly fond of. We've got some things going on up here. The Queen has given us a bunch of things that we can try and work towards. Completing any of these will give us an extra point in terms of our reputation, but that isn't the only way to raise your reputation, but it's probably one of the more powerful ones, especially early on. Now, what the Queen wants is 10 wood and 2 woodcutters' camps, and will reward us with 3 beavers and a boon, which will mean that our woodcutting will happen 50% quicker, and that will be for the rest of this map. Not this whole cycle, but this particular town. Okay, well, I'm quite happy to work on that. With that in mind, then, we're going to want a second woodcutter's camp, and let's pop this one perhaps a little bit further up here, maybe. Can we rotate this around? There we go, that will do perfectly. Now, with that in place, we're going to want to start chopping down some trees, but first and foremost, we're going to need some people in the woodcutter's camp. Now, this camp has 3 separate spots for someone, and you can pick whoever you think is going to be the best worker. We're going to go with a beaver there. If we have a look at the beavers, hardworking, peaceful, and honest people. Beavers are gifted woodworkers and enjoy working with rain punk technology. I love the term rain punk. The humans are an adaptable species, but very susceptible to the rain. Humans are adept at farming and love to cook. And the lizards. Lizards are very good with animals and meat production. They also prefer to work in warm environments due to their cold-blooded nature. Right, let's get another beaver over here. There we go. And now we have to assign some trees to be cut. So I would like to cut all of these trees if we are able, just to access the glades beyond. Now, at this point, I could hand this in. However, I don't want to hand in the only 10 wood that we've got that's keeping this fire going. That would be bad news bears, in my opinion. But we do now have another option as well, exploring the wilds. They would like us to get 5 woodcutters assigned, and to have cut through the forest to discover 2 glades, and this will give us 3 humans and 30 meat. So I will happily take that off your hands. Let's go ahead. We'll have an extra beaver in there, an extra human over here, and you know what? Sure, let's go ahead and pop down the other 2 humans. That way, we'll get the most bang for buck out of our wood cutting. There we go. Let's see. That won't be carted off to storage until the storage here is full. Oh no, there we are. Someone is carrying it down. There we go. We've now got 15, so that's perfect. I will hand in the woodcutter. Right, that has given us a +1 of reputation, but it has also massively reduced the impatience of the Queen. One of the other things to be aware of is the hostility of the forest. Now this goes up based on how long you've been here, how many people are there, but it'll go down based on a couple of other things. Right now, the hostility of the forest is being very tightly tuned to keep it on the low side because this is effectively the tutorial level. Later on it gets a lot easier to annoy the forest, sadly. Right, so we've got a new building that we can select. Your renown grows. You can now pick from available blueprints. Once again, in the tutorial, we're not going to get many choices. It's kind of going to teach us how to use each building by just giving it us one at a time. The Foragers Camp. Starting point for the foragers going out into the wild to gather vegetables, insect, and grain. The stars give you an idea of how efficiently they can perform this task. So in this case, they can do it kind of adequately well. It's not penalised. If it were penalised, it would have a little red clock face to show that they're going to be extra slow at it. Or they would have, if they were particularly good at it, then you would have increasing numbers of stars next to those items. Are there things to gather? Yes, there's a couple of things to gather. So let's go ahead and place down a forager's camp. And it will do a very nice job of highlighting it all for us as well. So let's pop you right there. That will do nicely. And then we'll get a couple of peeps in there to help out. Next up, we've got food supply. Get a forager's camp and get plenty of vegetables. This will give us a perk, +1 to vegetable production. Gain additional vegetables every yield. That one's pretty amazing. We've also got building blocks. You'd like us to make some refined materials. So planks, bricks, and fabric. And that will give us 10 parts. Again, these are super rare. We can't make them, at least not yet. And workstation upgrades, 50% to the amount of goods produced at the crude workbench, which is where we're going to make these three things. So that's actually quite a nice one as well. Okay, now one of the things to be aware of here is that we do not build anything unless we've got spare population. You can see over here how many free workers we've got. And how many people are homeless? Sadly, pretty much everyone. We've got some root deposits over there. That's actually quite nice. But let's go ahead and try and get our peeps in out of the rain right now. There's still some more elements of the interface that the tutorial hasn't shown us yet. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop down a couple of shelters. I think that's the very least that we can do for our people. So let's pop that one there. And we'll also have another one here just to give a bit of visual difference there. What have we got over here? We've got, we had, I think, a bit of fiber and some more veggies as well. But there we go. We've got our foragers camp up and running. Let's get humans in here. Now this tile can only accept humans. So how about we head back here and get these three other slots taken up by beavers. I am going to call them dwarves. I'm sorry, but they just have a kind of a dwarf-like visage, and every time I go to mention this population, I want to say dwarf. It's going to slip in. Eventually, I'm not going to catch it. But there we go. We've got foragers on the way. So food supplies and exploring the wild. So let's get that one as well. There we go. A massive bump to our population. Now that is going to drain our food stocks, obviously, quite quickly, but there we go. We've now got the crude workstation. This is going to allow us to make the refined materials, as I mentioned. And this, you can click on the little eye symbol to see a look at the recipes you're capable of doing in them. And this is the production cost. Unfortunately, production costs more resources and time since the building's equipment is not intended for the task. This is the icon I was talking about a little bit earlier. And now we've got all of the necessary buildings, we can start actually branching out a little bit. Your renown grows. You can now pick one of the available blueprints that the Queen offers you. Well, considering we've got 6 humans and 6 beavers, let's pick either human or beaver for the housing. Go with a beaver house, building specifically for beavers. It has 2 places. So it has 2 slots, whereas the generic house has 3. But the races will prefer housing built specifically for them, and they'll get a slight morale boost as a result. Let's go for the beaver house. It looks quite cute. And with that, we're going to need 3 of these. So let's go ahead and pop 1, 2, and indeed 3 straight down. And with that, we should have housing enough for pretty much, well, actually, no, not quite everyone. We're going to need 1 or 2 more shelters to be able to properly store, to get everyone inside. Right, clearance, year 1. Next storm's in 4 minutes. Let's make sure that we've got housing for everyone, though, before we get there. Now, we're going to need advanced materials to build these sorts of houses. So that's where the crude workshop comes in. If we place, say, 2 of these down. There we go. We should be able to get our people to start making those materials. While all of that's happening, let's go ahead and get some paths in as well. This will actually help with the movement for our people. Sometimes paths in games are purely cosmetic. I quite like it when they're not. I'm going to be honest. I like it when the paths are do offer a specific advantage to being used. Let's slide that down there as well. Now, let's continue to dig out. Let's... do we want to try and remove some of the trees down the bottom there, or expand further out? I think we're going to expand further out. That also gives me a reason to showcase this. You can just straight up move buildings, and that is so incredibly useful. Ah, my lord. I love that so much. Let's go ahead and just dig through here. Actually, once again, we'll kind of dig that little whole area out. We'll do a little bit around here as well, just to expand out our building area as well. Just a wee little bit. Too many trees are marked. Really, though? I don't think there's too many. As you chop down the trees, less trees will be marked. Simples. Right, if we have a look down here, we've got the workshops. Let's get 2 humans working in each. There we go. Now, we can limit how many of a material we're going to make. And I think that's probably wise. Let's just go ahead and limit them to 10 of each. There you go. And the same over here. You can either use the slider, or you can type it in. Personally, I prefer to type it in. I just feel that allows for far more precision. And it avoids that horrible situation where you're trying to use a slider and you want it like to be 65, but you can only get it to 64 or 66. Right, okay, so the final objective is to collect an ancient tablet. Now, we'll get 30 amber from this, but ancient tablets are a bit of a tricky one. Valuable sources of knowledge, highly sought after by traders and the Queen herself. They can be found in dangerous glades. Obviously, the game does want us to check out dangerous glades. Now, every full season, you will get the... a missive with a couple of extra refugees. You do have to accept one or t'other, but you do have a choice. In this case, there's very little variance. This one just gives us 1 extra person, and that'll be of the Lizard Clan. These people have been sent here by the Crown. Which group do you want to stay, Viceroy? The others will continue on to the next settlement. We'll take you. There we go. Let's get a couple of extra peeps here to help us do all the work. That being said, let's grab some fabric, and for that we're going to want a scavenger hut. And in fact, if we build a scavenger hut here, they're gonna pretty much grab everything, and that's gonna be amazing. Let's draw a path all the way out from there all the way down. Now, I'm not sure how how the textures link. I guess we're gonna find out pretty soon, actually. Right, with that going on, if we have a look down here, we can see the little water wheel on top moving around. How? I don't... Where is the water coming? I am confused. Is the water magical or something? Either way, you are making planks, and I am very glad for that. Ah, no. They don't have good connected textures. Wop, 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 wop. There we are. It has to be done. You know it. I know it. There's no point in us complaining. Right, the last thing we would like then is a stone cutter to help us out a little bit. Can we get that stone too? Oh, we can just. That's perfect. Let's pop that one in there. Now, not all buildings can be moved. For example, can't move a shelter. Once a shelter is built, that shelter lives there. But more or less any production building can, which is quite nice to see. Are there any other buildings we would like to place presently? I could put down a couple of decorations. Completely optional. They don't actually do anything in that sense, but I still like to have them, if I'm perfectly honest. Do we want some more housing? I think we're going to just have to accept that we need another house because we don't yet have enough specialist housing. So... yeah, we're just going to have this one placed in. There we go. And eventually, I think we're going to need you to move. In fact, let's move you now. over to here. There we go. That way we can bring this path all the way up. It'll look gorgeous. Look, we might be fighting for survival, but there's no reason why we can't do our best to build beautiful while we're at it, eh? How's fuel going? We're doing fine for fuel. Now, as we progress through, I don't believe this particular tutorial map has access to the trader, but I imagine we're going to be able to get at least this one and the next map in this one first taste. So we should gain access to a trader before too long. Let's have both of the lizards there in Stonecutter's camp, and over here, once again, 2 lizards. Perfect. Now all that remains is a single human to do all of the building work. Sorry about that, but it's just the way it's going to be. Now, with the flax being brought in and with the stone being brought in, we will have everything we need to finish these buildings. As you can see, we've already built all the planks that we needed. Now we'll start to accrue the planks, which will be particularly nice. If we have a look over here, it's just the active storm. It is pulling down our overall resolve of our people. Uniformly, no one likes the looming darkness. But in a non-tutorial map, there are other effects that can come into play, and quite a lot of them will be based on the hostility of the forest. For example, during the storm, what we're about to do right now, and I bring this up because for a moment I panicked, but then I realized this isn't a thing in the tutorial levels, is sometimes they would rather not open up a new glade in the storm, because, you know, dark shadowy figures might lurk on the other side of the forest, and so they'll get a massive resolve penalty if you explore too much during the stormy season. So there's a lot of things to consider in that regard. We've got some flax, we've got some stone, but we've also got a small encampment. If I were to spend 8 vegetables over here, I could welcome some people into the camp. We would get a human and a beaver, or I could send the destroy camp in the wilderness. There are still survivors there. We can send the survivors to the capital, and we'll get some amber and the Queen's Grace. I think we're going to go for the Queen's Grace. We don't... Well, that being said, actually, we do kind of want the people, because we've got one person currently doing all of the building. And when I assign this one person to carry the stuff over there, we're suddenly not going to have anyone doing any new building. So, you know, a fair thing to worry about there, I feel. Right, then, Your Majesty. The Queen's Envoy. No one can weather the storm alone. The Queen offers you a cornerstone that will lay the foundations for your town's prosperity. Choose wisely, as you won't be able to change it. So we can have an exploration contract. The Royal Academy wants a detailed map of the region and will supply anyone willing to help. Gain 20, I think that's reeds, and 20 clay for every discovered glade, or carpenter's tools. Crude workstations production is 50% quicker. That would mitigate some of the problem with our crude workstations. So I'm actually all about that. I think that's a fantastic, fantastic idea. Right, with that done, I'm going to now move the woodcutters a little bit closer to where they're cutting the wood, because they do seem to prioritize the nearest available resource node that they're tasked to collect. Unassigned workers. Only villagers not assigned to any building will build structures. Right-click any villager assigned in a building panel to make them a builder. How close are we to finishing this? Oh, I hadn't clicked investigate. Okay, so we're quite far away from finishing it. So, because I'm a derp, I'll unassign these 2 lizards and they can help sort out a couple of things. The Queen gave you orders. Keep track of them and try to complete the progress to your settlement. The Queen is becoming impatient. This goes up every minute, no matter what. Hence, you know, it's impatience. It's not. She isn't unhappy with failure. She is unhappy with failure as well. But she's just unhappy with progress that takes too long to happen. This gives you a bit of a time concern to finish whatever you're working on in the level. You can't just sit around and build up infinitely. You do need to have a little bit of an eye for the time, though. In as far as I've played it, just beyond the tutorial, just into one city beyond the tutorial, so one where I was completely off the rails, I have not yet seen this ever be a concern. The time pressure is there, but it has never been so much of a pressure that it's made me feel anxious about being able to complete the level. For those of you who might be concerned about the presence of any kind of time pressure, and there's no problem with that. I definitely prefer games where sometimes I'm allowed to build things beautiful at my own pace, but every now and then, you know, I do enjoy a little bit of a nudge in the right direction, because otherwise I might never finish the game. If any of you have been to any of my streams, you know how it goes. I'm given a character creator, I might still be there 3 hours later, and then I start the game, and then I need to wrap it up because the stream is over. You know, 10 hours after that, because I have no self-control. Right, okay, so there we go. We are closer now to completing this section. We've now just got to get one ancient tablet, and we kind of already know where we need to go for that. The Queen's Envoy, your renown grows. We've now got the Clothier. The Clothier can produce cloth into coats, and coats are... It's a valuable good that's a consumable. Your people will wear coats, and it will make them happier. At this point, we could complete this without ever breaking into the dangerous area up ahead. We will go for the dangerous glade, or we'll try to at the very least. But the presence of a Clothier will allow our people to, generally speaking, just make themselves happy enough that their renown goes above this little threshold here. Once it goes above that, their resolve goes above that threshold. Once it goes above that threshold, it starts generating passive amounts of renown for you. And so as a consequence, you can basically win the game just by making people happy enough, rather than doing what the Queen asked you. Because ultimately, the Queen is the good sort of monarch. She may be stern, and some might say that her demands are unrealistic, but she is demanding only so that her people might prosper. And as long as you're making her people prosper, whether by being just generally happy or, you know, expanding the kingdom, she's fine with it. It's all good. Right, we have got a weaver over here. Now we can choose to rebuild it, in which case this place can produce fabric crazy good, or we can salvage it for some plant fiber and some luxury goods. But we'll need 5 planks to do it. I would 100% like to rebuild this. Let's get some peeps assigned to this. There we go. Go. Let's get over there. And we are going to have a couple more peeps as well. Let's see. Pervun Runebeak, the Royal Stormwalker. These people have been sent here by the Crown. Which group do you want to stay, Viceroy? Well, we're going to get 2 humans either way. Let's go with a beaver and 2 humans. There we go. We've got 10, 8, 5. Nice. Though we are going to want an extra beaver home now as a consequence. Where will this beaver home be? Let's pop the beaver home right there. I think that'll be lovely. There we go. Now, because we're producing fabric over here... sorry. We're not producing fabric here. We will be producing fabric over here once we get an opportunity. Once that happens, there is no reason to have fabric being produced down here, because we're producing it slowly and we're producing it inefficiently in terms of the materials that we're using to produce it. So we are definitely going to want to change that. But another thing we're definitely going to want to change is we are definitely going to want to change the fact that we can't access this glade. I guess I'll leave you there just to finish off chopping those trees for now. And in fact, you can help out a little bit more by chopping a couple of others besides. But we want to dig our way through to this place. We don't really want to, and I'm not going to be too unhappy if our people just become so happy that we win passively. Still, we need to start making progress, because the Queen will eventually get very, very impatient with us. Right, okay, so Beaver House, let's increase the priority on that. Let's just make sure that that gets done ASAP. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, so we can now make fabric over here. And we could also make some simple tools if we had copper bars and wood. We don't, sadly. If we had herbs, then we could turn that into ink, which would be amazing. But again, sadly, we don't. So we're just going to have to get some humans over there working on that. And at this point, no more fabric, please. You are wasting resources. Let's turn those off. That was 6 to get 3 fabric, and it would take 26 seconds. Over here, we take 2 in 20 seconds and produce 2 fabric. So it's literally 1 to 1. This is about as good as it could possibly get. Let's go ahead and make 10 of everything. We're not going to be making any of these because we don't have those materials available to us in this level, sadly. Right, hopefully we can get the rest of this moved down. How about... Can you gather eggs? No, the foresters camp can't gather eggs. Well, in that case, I'm afraid these eggs need to be gone. It pains me to remove a resource like that, but here we are. Same with these roots. Now, I can use the roots, but again, it's just kind of in the way. So let's get a path, because the path does help once again. If we click on that, it'll give us 5% better speed. And considering there is a time pressure in this game, how fast people move to and fro, it becomes of a bigger concern, really, when you think about it. Right, okay, we're going to dig our way in here from the side, rather than going straight through here and just leading whatever it is directly to our people. Let's have a look. Is this all set up and people are working there? No, they're probably still bringing along the various plant fiber as is. How are you doing? You're doing fine, it seems. Okay, well, just time for us to pass a bit of time. So with that, we'll use the time commands for the first time in this level and watch all of our people just dancing around. Let's have a gander. Have we got any fabric on the move yet? Hopefully we will. It might take a little while because they're going to have to bring... There we are. They're bringing up the fabric right now, actually. And on that note, actually, I'm going to slow it down and we're going to get right in there. Just look at how good the little models are. I quite approve. You've got the beavers here and the humans. I'm not gonna lie. The first couple of times I saw the humans move around, I thought they were the lizards. I thought those were scales, but they're not. They're just a really interesting looking hat. Fantastic looking hat. It is. Now, where are our lizards? There they go. I was looking around there and like, I can't show you the lizards, but no, there they are. I've got to look for those wrapped tails. Quite tall, the lizard folk. Very tall indeed. But yes, for the longest time in the tutorial, I was looking at that and I was assuming, I was like, I know I've got less lizards than humans, but all I'm seeing are lizards. And then it dawned on me, oh, those are hats. Fantastic. And there we are. We have got our home ready. We are starting to hopefully see some cloaks being made. And there we go. As we can see, humans are content. The resolve is rising, largely because they've got consumables available to them. The humans are almost at the point where they're going to start generating some extra renown passively. We've got plenty of time before the Queen's impatience is a thing. But let's find out which one we're going to get to first. The beavers are doing a fantastic job over here of digging through. You're doing good there. Actually, let me make sure. Oh, that's right. I didn't put the lizards back to work. Sure, we'll get the two lizards there because we've got two beavers available to do any further construction work that I would like done. Right, we've got a little bit more to do for the Queen, so let's have a look. Got some more peeps. We can take... Honestly, let's increase the lizard population. Sure, we'll get those extra 2 lizards. And the Queen's envoy. No one can weather the storm alone. The Queen offers you a cornerstone that will lay the foundations for your town's prosperity. Fiber delivery line or an egg delivery line. This is basically a free trader from the Citadel. We'll get 15 plant fiber per minute or 15 eggs per minute. Which one do we care about the most? We're doing fine for food. We don't have a renewable source of food, so I guess we'll take the egg line. We don't have a renewable source of fiber either. We're not going to need either one, but still, I think that one is a better one. Okay, right. We have broken through. Time to have a look at this dangerous place. Ancient Shrine. If we click on the Ancient Shrine, in 41 seconds, a curse is going to happen. Curse of the Forefathers. Disturbing the ruin of the great civilization can have grave consequences. Kills 3 random villagers. Right, that's a little bit mean, frankly. Alternatively, or rather... we have to give 10 simple tools, 6 fabric, and 5 planks. And I will need 1 person from each of the species to do this. Investigate. Get over there right now. Do we have those materials, though, is the question. We don't have the fabric. That's going to be the thing that holds us back. We've got planks enough. Come on, peeps. Start moving stuff over here because this is going to get nasty in 30 seconds. Yeah. Right now, unfortunately, they're probably kind of fighting back and forth to get the fabric down there, but We'll see how it goes. It doesn't look like the humans are going to reach the point where they're passively generating enough resolve to give us renown. And boom, right, let's slow this down and actually properly look at this. Is this something we can touch or select to investigate? No. It's just horribleness. Heading somewhere. To someone. In particular. They've designated some targets and just straight up dead. Well. That was unfortunate. Did the other person die? Yes, there they go. They had to wait. You know what? You can't say fairer than that. At least the curse was polite about it. It's like, no, it's okay. You're chopping tree. I can wait. It's fine. I mean, I'm going to kill you, but I don't need to be uncivilized about it. You can finish what you're doing. I've got nowhere else to be. Thank you, curse. Right. Okay, we're almost done. We're one shy, so the next delivery is all we need. There we go. Let's get you in there. I might need to bring one of the humans across from one of the other jobs. Let's get you along. I don't think I strictly needed that. I don't think they need to have all slots filled. It's just having 3 slots means that you can move things 3 times as fast as only having 1 slot filled. But it might be that for this particular role, you do need that. In the buildings, for example, over here, which can only have a lizard in that slot, you don't need a lizard in that slot. It's just that if you want more than one person working there, at least one of them needs to be a lizard. But here we go. Here's the very last little bit being delivered. And not a moment too soon, I must say. Now we just need someone to, or rather all 3 of them to come along and perform the rite. So, is this it? Well, that's 2 of them at the very least. They can start investigating. There we go. I think it was the beaver that delivered the item, so it's fair that they don't need to be here. They've already done a fair bit of work. They need some time to grieve their fallen kin. Oh, actually the humans did manage to get to a point where they were generating reputation passively. Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, well, I guess we didn't need to go in here and have 3 of our people die. Look, I didn't know, okay? We needed to explore for the sake of science. Yeah, we also need more wood for the sake of fire. Okay, we can't get those ones. That's a little bit outside of our reach. But the ancient tablet has been delivered, so it's time to finish up. There you go. You won. This village is secured. But there is one more test of your skills. Very well, we've got some EXP and we've got 10 food stockpile. But that stockpiled food is going to have to sit there for the time being, as tragically we have run all out of time for today's first taste. There is plenty more to show in this game, however, such as nuanced controls over the individual races' wants more than needs. Specifically, the things that will make them happy does differ between the beavers, the lizard folk, and the humans. There's also trading and indeed the meta progress of the Smouldering City, where we would be able to spend the food that we have stockpiled to start unlocking some more chunky upgrades for future runs. But if you are interested in seeing a little bit more Against the Storm on the channel, whether as an extended first taste or perhaps even as a mini-series, then do let me know down below in the comments, or again with a like on the video, perhaps both if you're feeling especially spicy. But that really is all the time that we have for today. So with that, and as always, from myself, the lizard people, the beaverkin, and indeed those jack of all trades humans, do take care, everyone.